It is 20 degrees outside right now, but I figured let's take advantage of this wonderful snow to talk about an important topic. And the topic is why your best work is still ahead of you. Prime example here is Nas, Nasty Nas, Esco. And so, what we're going to talk about today is how he was 19 when he came out with Illmatic, which is still probably one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. And anytime you drop music, or anytime you do anything and people compare it to your first initial work, it just sometimes just doesn't hold up. This holds true for trilogies and other movies and TV shows, etc. Anytime there's like sequels or a series in a line of anything, and there's a really big emphasis these days to like have already made it by the time you're like 25 or something, and it's like, bro, that's not the case because I mean, yes, Nas, sure, he made a banger album when he was 19, but there was so much more that he's done. And it wasn't until 2021 where he won a Grammy and he went on a 6 album run in 3 years and now a 7 album because he just came out with an album in 2025. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and break down each of the phases of Nas. And I think there's like four key ones. And the first one is like his like hustle phase, like the I never sleep because sleep is the cousin of death, New York state of mind phase, like the drinking moets, holding techs, investments in stocks, ending up in fights with mega cops, like forgive me on the exact word for word lyrics, it's 20 degrees outside. The first part is like him being just hungry for making a name for himself, for hustling, etc. And the second piece we'll talk about here in a second. It is literally snowing right now, so we're gonna head upstairs. The second part is from. I want to start it off by the 1999 song "Nas Is Like," where he says, "Let my cash invest in stock. Came a long way from blasting techs on blocks. Went from Psycho to Rolex." Owning acres from the projects with no chips to large cake dough, dimes giving fellatios, yet they're zeros. But what's it all worth? Can't take it with you when you under this earth. Rich men died, but none of it worked. So here, he's kind of in this mode of like, I'm gonna stop hustling for cash and I'm gonna find my positioning for wealth. He's moving. He's in New York State of Mind, he said investments in stock, but like in the stock he's talking about is drugs, guns, stuff like that. In this one, he's actually talking about stacking assets, and you can see in New York State of Mind, he literally says like a gangster drinking moets, holding techs, and now he talks about came a long way from blasting techs on blocks. So this is the second part where you're focused on maturity. You're not really focused on like holding up a persona or like flexing for people who doubt you. And this next piece is one of my favorite Nas songs because it's by the beat is by Kanye during his famous like 2018 Good Music run, where he was dropping like an album every Friday. It's Adam and Eve, and so I want to say this. I'm going to say this line, but I'm going to preface it with this other line when he goes at the beginning, earlier in the song. He goes, "Spent 50 grand at the Bellagio, spent 20 on a bad bitch I hardly know. New girl every night, two girls each and every night. Sexual addiction, gangster tradition." Anyway, and then later he goes, "What comes first? Piece of the paper. Before I had a piece of paper, peace was in my favor. Before I had to eat at the table, I had leeches and traders. Cut the fat from the meat, extract the wheat. Bon appetit, no bacon. Brothers of swine." So this is good. So this is when he's like, all right, I've lived this life, and I have the access to, different bad bitch every night and two girls every other night. But what's worth it for me in the end? peace or the paper, right? And there's a point in time in everyone's life that comes where you start choosing peace over pretty much everything else. And so this last piece of the song where he's talking about, cutting the fat from the meat, he's talking about getting rid of like toxic friends, getting rid of haters, pretty much saying no to the wrong people so you can say yes to the right people in your life so you can kind of stay focused. And so all these things kind of add up and they bubble up. So you go from Illmatic, which was Nas's like arguably his prime, right? And then you go to Nas Is Like, where he's still dropping gems and he's still dropping bars, but he's telling you how he came a long way. And then you go to Adam and Eve, which is like in the mid 2010s and like 2018 when it drops. And then Nas goes on this 2020s run with Hit Boy, where he drops King's Disease 1, 2, and 3. And then he drops Magic 1, 2, and 3. King's Disease ends up winning a Grammy, which is crazy, winning a Grammy at like 48 years old. And then this last part, he's just like kind of leaving his legacy, right? So I'm gonna reference the song "Thun" when he goes, "No beef with rivals, playing ether on title, brothers can do anything they decide to. In a Range Rover, dissecting bars from takeover. Sometimes I text Hova like, brother, this ain't over," laughing. Dude, that is so funny because he's literally texting Jay like, "Yo, man, like, this ain't over. Just remember, man. I just gotta say, Ether was fire. Takeover was fire too. And then Super Ugly was crazy, but Jay-Z's mom made him apologize to Nas for dropping Super Ugly. That was crazy. Anyway, it's side tangent. But he's just at this point in time where he's just like thinking about all the things that have happened when he was younger, and he's just laughing about it. And you kind of do that same thing too, where you'll just think back to some occasions randomly in life, and you're like, bro, why was I even worried about that? Why was I even tripping about that? Like, that's hilarious. So yeah, I mean, so there's all these phases that you come to. You got the hustle phase, you got the wealth phase, you got the decision phase, and then you have like your legacy. And Nas was in his legacy phase, and he's still dropping gems. So just remember that you have so much more time in front of you. And I guess I'll give an honorable mention to Light Years, which is the Nas and Primo album that just came out recently. One of my favorite set of bars from this one is, "We do Brandon, expanding a 30-year career. I'm just scratching the surface, the next phase of Nasir. Phase 4, the fourth dimension, the legacy's here. And other things I won't mention. I'm winning when I'm not even trending. Trailblazing the message I'm sending. When you evolve into your true growth, they say you can't do both. Feed your soul and get money. I'm like two goats. So I guess then as long as it's knocking, we'll solve the problem. When it's cracked, hit a rock at the bottom, then you got him." Man, the premiere album still might happen, and it did. So all to prove a point, coming full circle, Nas started his career with Premiere, and 30 years later, he just dropped Light Years with Premiere. And so a lot of artists will fall off, but I think Nas ascended. So if you're in a zone right now and you're thinking that you haven't hit your peak yet, I promise you that your best work is yet to come. And if you have hit a previous peak and you've done all these great things in your life, I promise you there's another great peak, and you are just waiting, like it's just waiting to come out. So trust me, just follow the phases, and you'll get there. But yeah, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed, man. Go listen to some Nas. Enjoy some Nasty, some Esco. Oh, that last song off the Premiere album, that was I think it was Nasty, Esco, Nasir, and it's such a great song. It's probably my favorite song off the album. But that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If it's snowing for you outside, enjoy the snow, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.